Real-time Sovryn is go.
Woo! The Golden Stallion, the Man of Tomorrow, Savzu, the Rated R radio star, coming to you live from Ice Planet Zero. And before I talk about what's behind me, obviously there's what's before you. That is very clean-shaven Man of Tomorrow. Just got off of a little bout with COVID. And, when that happens, I like to be a little trim, when your nose is running like crazy and whatever. You don't want to be a mess. Don't worry, I'll grow back. I'll be looking like Anton LaVey in no time. Don't you fret. Anyway, speaking of things gone, like my facial hair, behind me is Bed Bath & Beyond. I saw this and I just had to stop, and it got me thinking about so many things that have come and gone that I've experienced in my 43 years as this life form known as Brian Sovryn. And because Bed Bath & Beyond, we're celebrating just now. This was July 30th, I want to say, of 2023, when the last one actually shut down. So we're celebrating right now the anniversary, over 1 year anniversary of Bed Bath & Beyond shutting down. Now, some interesting tidbits about this. Of course, Bed Bath & Beyond originally started, a little bit of a different name. It started in 1971, I want to say. And like my facial hair, did not survive COVID. But in 2024, it actually still kind of oddly exists. Like if you went to whatever, bedbathandbeyond.com, it's actually, now it looks like it's still running, right? But what it actually is, overstock.com actually ended up buying it. And like they just took over the intellectual property. And now, or Overstock no longer exists. Now, does Bed Bath & Beyond take Bitcoin? I don't know. I haven't looked that deep into it. And of course, Patrick Byrne has not run Overstock or now Bed Bath & Beyond for years. And hey, Patrick, been a while. We've hung, I know. Anyway, not that I really care. Bed Bath & Beyond has never been, a store that really meant much to me. But I ended up thinking a lot about quite a few stores that have come and gone. For example, Toys R Us. In fact, there's a Toys R Us, the remaining shell of a Toys R Us not far away from here, from where I'm at. And not only that, of course, Toys R Us took on a new form supposedly in Macy's, right? Which also isn't too far away from where I'm standing. Macy's, which it's just like this little that is no Toys R Us inside that Macy's, or any Macy's for that matter. The Toys R Us is gone. And I think about some of the others, some of the bigger, New England heavy hitters. Woolworths. Anybody remember Woolworths? How about PNC? Not Price Chopper. Price Chopper still kind of exists, even though that is also morphing into a Market 32 or something. But PNC. Remember PNC? About Chicago Market? Montgomery Wards, or what we used to call Monkey Wards. There's so many, franchises that some of them existed, from 71. So Bed Bath & Beyond was here, 71? Not here, but, in existence from 71 to 2023. What is that? Some odd 50 years? Over 50 years that it was around. I mean, some of these things that I'm listing off were around for 50 years or even longer. T-Hands, remember T-Hands? I bet that still exists in some way, because some asshat always just comes out and buys the intellectual property and takes it over. But so many of these have really come and gone, and I think about it, and it's kind of sad, because I have some tremendous memories believe it or not, with some of these stores. Just walking around these stores, or like everything that you find in them. I think like Walden Books. Before there was ever a Barnes and Noble anywhere in New England, Walden Books was fucking everywhere. Or before, GameStop, had a huge hand in, causing the present video game crash. And really, I think there is responsible for that. It's just about anybody you could list off, like Electronic Arts or, EA. Sorry, we don't call it Electronic Arts anymore. But GameStop, the reason I brought that up is because they used to be, or at least in New England, it was called Electronics Boutique. Awesome place. Babbage's, another one very similar. Lots of great memories with these places. Just looking around at like all the big boxes and reading up on stuff is really amazing. But it got me thinking as I see this. It actually brought something to mind for me that humbles me, honors me, and ultimately blows me away. And what that is that I've been doing podcasting for, since 2012. Speaking of endings, actually, Sovryn-tech, the first episode. Now, I had been doing podcasting long before that. Okay, well before that. I was on other shows as a regular, guest co-host and whatever else. But that's not what I'm, here to talk about. But the first episode of Sovryn-tech was actually released on the day that the world was supposed to end. Speaking of endings, and that's December 21st, 2012. Obviously, I did that on purpose. And the funny thing is that with so much that has come and gone, including in the podcast space, and boy, could I name names. I don't want to. I don't need to. But I could name names of people who are in my particular corner. And I don't mean the tech world. I mean the anarchist space. And when I say anarchist, I mean I'm being very particular about saying anarchists who have been consistently anarchists. But Sovryn-tech has actually been my show in my career as of 2025. We're in the end of we're getting to the end of 2024 here, but as of 2025, will actually be the single longest running anarchist podcast. Also, the single longest running anarchist host in world history. The wind picks up as I say this. Look at this. Look at this. It's blowing everywhere. Anyway, just the epicness of the moment, right? But I will be the single longest running anarchist host, anarchist show on the planet. And yes, you might think of another one that begins with an A. That show did not consistently run, or has not consistently run since 2012, even though, we more or less started around the same time. There are other shows that I thought that actually ran a little longer than mine, that had ended years ago. Some of them very good shows, actually. That, one of two things happened. Either they ended, and so they're not going to have, the 13-year run that I'll have in 2025. They might have 11 or 12 years. Also, their hosts, because you could bring up some other shows, their hosts are not consistently anarchist. Like, they may have been anarchists for, 5 or maybe even 10 years of the run, but then they went political, or literally run for political office at that. And would fit more with the libertarian style. So, not that I need to justify my statement, because the statement stands and it's true. But it is one distinction that I never thought that I would be the one to have. I didn't start my podcast career thinking that I was going to outlast, and by some people's metrics, best, everyone else in the game. but it's true, and I have. Now, I do a lot of these real-time sovereigns lately. This is just a continuation. It's all sovereign, right? It's just a continuation of the theme. But I could not imagine, in 2012 when I started, there's no way that I would have thought that I'd be the guy. Am I bragging? No, it's not a brag, because it's true, because it can be backed up. I always tell you that. It's not boasting if you can back it up. Well, I can back it up. How about me? What? Oh, you could say, well, any who knows, there might be someone else who started off in a garage somewhere or whatever and is podcasting or something like that. Well, if you want me to if you want to get down to brass tacks, I'm also the only professional, or the longest running professional anarchist podcast. And what makes one a professional? I'd say there's a couple of things that make you a professional. One is you make money at it. I do. Always. Oh, actually, pretty much always have. Ever since year one, sponsors had come on. The other thing is, do you have other people, other businesses even, who hire you to teach them how to podcast or to edit their podcast? Now, I'm not talking little businesses. I'm talking big stuff that might have even been on the showroom in Bed Bath & Beyond. Have I done that? Yes, I have. And I'm pretty sure that makes me a professional. So, even those stores like Bed Bath & Beyond, Monkey Ward's, PNC, Electronics Boutique, and others come and go, I'm still here. I'm still the best at what I do. And I'm still calling bullshit on the tech giants, on governments, on asshats all around the world. And I'm going to be yours for a long, long time. So here's to another 13 years. And well beyond that. Because I also don't ever plan on dying. I'll see all of you on the other side.